And the last one here is be tough, but always fair. My goodness. When you think about being tough, you think about that sternness that you would find in a judge, right? A high school principal, the assistant principal, especially the principal that was there for the discipline. Not that I know anything about that. But when we deal with those folks, or think about a police officer, maybe even a teacher, maybe even your parents, they were very stern. Okay, so when we think about being tough, but yet we know that all those folks were really fair. Okay, so when we think about being fair, again, that's another relative word, because remember, one man's trash is another woman's treasure. That's the way that works. So keeping this in mind, that it is a relative term about being fair. This is where we want to rely on our standards, rely on the truth, honesty, our work ethic. Okay? So be fair as you determine the whole picture, not just the parts. We don't want to be in a judgment type of framework where we're thinking about all those, coulda, shoulda, coulda, woulda kind of access. And remember, when we think about being tough but always fair, we come to this crossroads of thinking about justice and mercy. Remember, when we have mercy, that means justice is not necessarily met. And when we have justice, that means that mercy is not necessarily met. Right. And I understand those are relative words too, justice and mercy. So remember, there's points of contention here as far as being compromising in who we are. We don't want to compromise our standards, but we certainly want to be tough. We want to be firm. Okay. But we always want to be fair. And that means we want to be loving, want to be compassionate, have some sort of understanding. Okay. And also that brings about the concept of expectations. We got to watch out for expectations in reference to people, because we don't want to control people.